Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Crypto Coin Mindset. Appreciate everybody being here. We got a lot of people just kind of jumping in. Make sure you jump into the chat, say hey. Before we even get going, I want to take a minute to thank everyone that's sitting here right so far for the roundtable. We're actually missing a couple of people, so you're going to see hopefully other people be jumping in during the middle of our stream here. So make sure you welcome them once they get up on the screen. But guys, listen, I know you've taken some time out from your family and other things that you got going on. So the fact that you're here, I really appreciate it, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So just to give everybody kind of that's watching an overview, I'm hoping, as you can tell by the title of this stream, to talk mostly and give an overarching view of how you and I, and everybody sitting here on this panel as retail investors can potentially use what's coming with regard to economics, in crypto, gold, etc., and front run Wall Street. That doesn't happen very often. And with Wall Street right now, we all know that they are FOMOing into crypto, especially, hence all the ETFs and all this other stuff we see going on. But again, it's not just about that, but the other piece that I'd like to make sure that we touch on tonight is how we can utilize crypto is my thought process, but there are other ways and other means that hopefully everybody in the panel will chime into on how we can insulate ourselves from the volatility we've seen and potentially what's coming. And beyond that, I'd like to try at some point to touch into the different ways that we can start stacking the sats, as they say in the crypto space. Don't mind me, guys. You see me kind of checking my notes here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything, so bear with me. But again, that's what I'm looking to do. I would hope that everyone here in the chat and watching tonight will put some questions in for everybody here on the panel. If you want the question to be just a general question, throw it in the chat. If for whatever reason you want a specific person to go ahead and answer that, make sure you put their name. That way they can answer that specifically for you. Okay. All right. I think in the way of introductions, because we probably got some people in the live stream who have not met everybody who's sitting here right now. Maybe we can start. Well, what the heck? We'll just start right here with Bedell, real quick. Just a quick intro, 2-minute thing, who you are, what you're doing, that kind of thing, and we'll just kind of go around the horn.
Hi, I'm Crypto Bedell. I have a YouTube channel. I haven't really made a lot of videos lately. I do plan on it at some point. Just been busy with personal life. Been in Bitcoin since back when you could CPU mine it. Then lost track of it. Got back into it mid 2020. So now I just hodl and wanting to learn how to trade. It's just sometimes it's a little bit over my head. I feel at certain points. Other than that, I'm just here to learn and give my knowledge and do the best I can and help whoever I can.
Awesome. Billy?
Yeah, man. Crypto Billy. I'm co-founder of Billy Goat Tales. So we are a personal development company basically in the crypto space. So what we try to do is get out there and make sure everybody's in the right mindset. And we have a couple projects going on. We're printing an NFT book. We also have a book on Amazon for children. What we try to do is just help everyone in the space give back to the space, help lead the space. And, we all came in right around that 2019 time frame. And so I look at us kind of like a class. We're kind of like a class. So there he goes. There's my children's book.
Yeah, he actually won that in a giveaway.
Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, I do. So I originally came into crypto. I do have a finance background, finance degree, and a securities license. That is no longer. It's expired, so I don't have it currently. But I came into it from a kind of a finance background, and it's been fun. Been a good ride. I've been learning for. I actually bought my first Bitcoin in 2017. but I really didn't do anything with it until like 2019. I really started getting involved, and then I, the fine people that's in our chat right now, and you guys, and it's been good.
Excellent. All right, Joe, you're up.
All right, my name is Joe, also known as Trade Intuition. I basically show people how to trade. I'm a registered nurse, been one for 8-10 years. Haven't been working for about 4 years due to crypto. And if you think trading is stressful, you ain't seen nothing as far as the nurse goes. So trading, I absolutely love it. And I teach it in the most simplistic way. Every single day, have a live stream. So, yeah.
You should also add in, Joe, that you have become part of Piper Academy, which Army Piper just joined us. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it, man.
So, Joe, give everybody a quick 411 about that.
Yeah, so I was really pleased when the blackmail actually worked. And Army Piper said, Joe, don't put it out there. You can join us. And no, I was really honored. Came as a surprise. Just that, because he has a lot of really great, smart people on his team.
Yes, he does.
And, they're all about the charts. They're all about, indicators. They're a way to make money in crypto. And as Billy knows, there's a lot of people out there that are good and not so good. And we want to hang out with the good people because, again, good, in my opinion, attracts good. And I'm just happy to be a part of Piper Academy. And we're going to do good things and big things, too. So, yeah.
Amen to that. Joel, you're up.
Hey, everyone. My name is Joel at the Desert Links on X and other places like that. I've been in the crypto space kind of like 12 years or so. I run a show and podcast, Digital Cash Network, which you'll see in the YouTube comments at least. And I also work full time for the Dash cryptocurrency right now. And I also have not earned fiat currency since the end of 2015, and I've not had a bank account since the middle of 2016 or so. And so I've been just kind of paving that way. I'm kind of the opposite side of like the trader side of things, where I'm kind of, the on the ground researcher, feeding information back to everyone else so they can make better decisions on that. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. And yeah, I've also, consummate loudmouth everywhere. You might see me at some conferences all around the world.
Nice.
So yeah, cheers.
All right. Thank you. And last but not least, Mr. Piper. Give us the 411.
What's up, gentlemen? So yeah, I'm a retired Army veteran, 22 and a half years in the Army. Did intel analysis. I was an analyst. Take this historical information, look for patterns, aggregate it, tell us what's going to happen next. Found out that hey, I can do this in markets too. Started out with a little bit on the stock side, and then once I figured out that crypto moved much quicker, it was a end of story for me. And here I am now, years later. YouTube show. I've got the best group of guys possible helping me out on there. We've got 5 shows running on our network now daily. So there's the Good Morning Crypto, and then the Morning Market Report at the Market Open. There is Trade Academy with Trade Intuition in the afternoon, and then in the evening, Crypto Nightcap. And then we have a Markets After Dark at the Asian Open. So, but yeah, my goal is to help educate people. I want people to learn. And I was retired from the military, needed something for myself to do. And one of the things that I loved most about being in the military was we always train our replacement, right? Train, you get people that go, hey, your soldier's doing a better job than you. Good. That was the goal, because I'm leaving eventually, right? And so I just kind of brought that mantra with me into the crypto space and the content creation space, where I want to help people out and help them learn, whether it be, another content creator that just can't seem to break the algo of YouTube, how that is, or whether it be, people that are like, I know the word Bitcoin. That's all I know. What do I do? And, if we can help one person out, then it's made Piper Academy Network existence worth it. So that's who I am. I am the people that I surround myself with. So
Amen. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And listen, I hope that if you are not already following any of these people that you see here on the screen, Links to all of their socials are in the description of this live stream. Go ahead and check that out. Go show them some love. I really would appreciate that. Also, just for a kind of housekeeping thing, we're missing one person who did RSVP. He sent me a last minute notice saying he had a last minute thing pop up. Daniel Diaz, executive director of Sound Money, Citizens for Sound Money, is expected to be here. So as soon as he shows up, we'll just pop him in the mix and we'll make him do all the talking at that point. So, all right, let's kick this thing off. Don't forget, put your questions in the chat that you might have at any point throughout this stream. If they're for someone specific, make sure you just put who it is you'd like to answer that question. Otherwise, we'll just, I don't know, we'll buckshot it. We'll figure out what's going on here at this point. All right. I want to kick it off. And Piper, I didn't give you the opportunity to prepare for this because we didn't get to talk ahead of this, but I was hoping you would kind of give us an overview of the maybe current economic situation in, well, the U.S. primarily, but overall. And I know that's a big ask, so let me, maybe just kind of a general overview, conditions of where we're headed, where we're headed 2025 and beyond. Again, I'm hoping I'm not putting you too far on the spot right now, but just to give people an idea.
All day.
All right.
This is my wheelhouse. I can talk about this after, a 6-pack of beer. It's okay. No problem.
Perfect.
So let's talk economy. We got a lot of interesting factors going on in the economy right now. We'll start with the job numbers, right? We'll look at those first. We've already talked about this before, I think, when I was on here, but just to recap for everyone, we've got a labor market that is weakening, right? And so if you look at job numbers, they're kind of weakening over and over and over. We keep getting revision after revision coming in. We even had an annual revision this year from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that had 817,000 jobs that didn't exist.
Yes.
That was in the books. And we have another report coming up. If you guys don't know this, in February 25th of next year is the next annual jobs revision report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The last one only went through March of 2024. So everything that's happened from April, May, June, July, August, September, current month is all going to be in that report next February. And I think it's going to be another bad report. All you got to do is simply look at the charts that are in FRED. If you guys don't know what FRED is, go check it out. I strongly encourage you to. It's FRED. It is the wow, I can't even think of the acronym right now, but it is the financial reports of the economy, right? And so it's got all the job numbers. You can go in there and put in construction jobs, and it'll show you a chart. And if you look at all the charts for job listings, they're dropping constantly. If you look at construction, it's dropping the whole year. It's just been going down. It's a down and to the right, the way that we don't want to see Bitcoin charts go, right? You've
Right.
got manufacturing down and to the right, retail down and to the right. Like all of the labor market is weakening massively. If you look at the job numbers, the only one that doesn't go down and to the right, guess where it comes from, guys? Federal government. It's government jobs going up and to the right. So they're literally, there's the word for all my community, literally keeping the job numbers afloat with tax paid jobs that are in the books. And I don't even know that they're filling those jobs, to be honest. It's just job listings, right? They're, hey, look at all the federal jobs. So perfect example of that is my wife worked as a GS-13 in a federal job when she retired from the Army. She left that job over a year ago, and she just got contacted by a headhunter recruiter in DC saying, hey, we saw your stuff on LinkedIn. We thought you'd be great for this job. And it was for the only SIGINT position at Joint Task Force North where she used to work. So over a year, that job's been sitting empty, and it's a GS-13 job. God, that's a 6-figure job that they're showing on the books as look at this job, all right? There's a great job here, and it wasn't even trying to be filled until like a year later. So I'm sure a lot of the government jobs are just on the books as, look, there's jobs available, but they're not really trying to fill those jobs. I think that when we get closer to the inauguration, January 20th, for those that don't know, I think you're going to see the presidency, the current administration go, yeah, we can get rid of all those jobs. We don't need those anyways. And then you've also got Doge. What is Doge going to do with all those jobs if they're not filled or they're not needed? That if you're looking at the safety device that's keeping the market afloat when it comes to job numbers, I think that thing's got a big hole in it that's getting ready to start leaking air. So there's jobs right off the bat. Okay. Strength of the economy is people having jobs to make money to put into the economy, right? I've already talked about manufacturing, construction, and retail down, 3 major sectors of the economy. Billy knows this because it's construction, right? Building homes. We're seeing that stuff drop constantly, and it's just slowing down. The only thing that I have a little bit of hope in is that the housing market prices come down from this, and then we start to see prices are better. We can get into this and start buying homes to at least get manufacture or construction back online. Manufacturing though and retail, I think, is going to be in a lot of pain because when tariffs come, they're going to come. I think that people are going to go, okay, do I want to get my goods from India or Mexico or China, or do I want to find a higher price item made in the United States? Because let's be honest, our labor is expensive in the U.S. for manufacturing and producing goods, right? So I do see that there is going to be some more pain coming from the tariffs initially. I'll wrap up later on that, how I think that is a beneficial thing long term. But I do think initially it's going to add to what we're already seeing on the economic side for market strength, for sector strength, for labor strength. And then to top it off, we got the 50 basis point rate cut that the Fed did. And then they did another 25. Right now, it's about a 50-50 or 60-40 chance that we're going to get another 25 basis point in December. But even Jerome Powell has had to roll back and go, we'll cut based on what we see, right? So even he knows that, okay, look, inflation's coming back because they kind of cut too early. We got to cut these numbers because we know these labor market numbers are not good. But now we're starting to see inflation tick back up too. And so I don't know if you guys know what it's called when you get weakening labor numbers and rising inflation, but it's a very bad thing. It's called stagflation. And that could be what we're looking at if these continue to tip. Everything's on a cliff right now. That inflation number is just right there, that if one thing pushes it, it's going to spike up. There's job numbers are sitting right there on that cliff where if one thing pushes it, they start to go down. And one easy thing that could do that would be companies now having to limit their profit amount. Where are they going to take that pay cut? They're going to raise prices. That's inflation. And they're going to cut jobs. That's job numbers. It's a really bad situation of what we're looking at with the economy right now as it sits. But my mindset is, as long as these markets keep riding on the degen waves, I'm going to keep investing. And when I start to see that start to weaken, I'm going to be sitting back, holding my cash, protecting my wealth, and then waiting for the rest of those chips to fall that I just talked about in the economy, because I think that the greatest buying opportunity is still yet to come. So there you go.
And I'd love for you to just follow up with this comment here from Wick589. But you mentioned something else on your show this morning about Target and how they basically posted like their largest loss in 2 years. I mean, to me, that's always been an indicator of recession time. When retail starts and everything starts tanking. I don't know if I'm wrong, right? I mean, feel free to correct me, but
no, you're on track. So
okay.
Wick589, I love Wick, man. What's up, Wick? How you doing, bro? I actually have his number because he's a really smart dude, and him and I got his phone number. We exchanged numbers so we can actually have a conversation because he piques my interest with some of the questions he has. So he says, doesn't this have the whole 2021 vibe though? So big difference between now and 2021, Wick. Back in 2021, the big issue that we were having with inflation was exacerbated. There, that's the word. Line, please. By supply chain. We don't have a big supply chain issue anymore. The problem right now is that the cost of goods for people to produce, manufacture, move things, that has all gone up, and so that's what's causing prices is the cost to manufacture, not the speed at which they can manufacture. And then on top of that, demand. We have the highest level of credit card debt delinquency. Well, two things. We have the highest level of credit card debt in history. We have the highest level of delinquent credit card payments in history, and it is going up higher. Matter of fact, the chart that shows the level of extremely delinquent, which is over 90 days, is now on the rise also. So we're starting to see where people are just running out of money. You can't have inflation. When they run out of money, by the way, that might bring down inflation a little bit because of demand, but the problem's not demand. The problem is the cost to produce. Everyone raised their prices. When's the last time you tell me, anybody in the chat, anybody in the panel, when's the last time you saw a company go, we dropped the price on this because we got it cheaper and this is your new price? That don't happen.
Yeah.
They raised.
I would say too, Rick, Piper, that for us, so in the construction business, new home construction. So what we're dealing with is labor. So our cost of goods has come down since the COVID highs, right? So in 2019, we paid X for, I see someone talking about roofing and shingles in the chat. We paid X to install a new roof on a new house. It's a new house, right? So, or we paid X for framing. So what happened in COVID was there was so much demand that we didn't have enough labor. So the National Association of Home Builders reports every year, we've been in a labor shortage for 15 years, a long time. Okay, but COVID really exemplified or amplified that. So what we're dealing with is our cost of goods are coming down. They're coming down. They're not down to 2019 levels, but the labor has tripled. So what I was paying for somebody to install a tile shower, the actual Dell tile is real close, a little bit higher than 2019, but the labor is double and triple because they can't find the workers that want to actually work and do the job anymore. So what you're left with is a smaller number of laborers that will charge way more to try to build out their company and find people that can actually do the work. So for us in the home building business, it's labor. Labor is driving our costs. So we're not lowering our prices. Our prices are going up. So new construction, we're not lowering our prices. What we are doing, however, is we are teaming up with banks and we are buying down the rates. So if the given rate right now is 7% for a mortgage rate on a 30-year loan for new construction, we will buy that down to like 4.875. And so our profit that we would normally get and receive, we're using a big chunk of that profit to buy down the rate for the buyer, which then in turn allows us to keep selling and keep building houses and keeps our people busy. So we've been in this rat race since the end of COVID. I don't know. You're probably not allowed to say that on YouTube. The C word, right?
No,
So,
you can say that now. You
at
can say that
this
now.
point,
It's
you can say it now.
Ukraine. It's Ukraine, Putin, and Russia that you can't say.
There it is. Demonetized.
Demonetized.
That's it.
Hey, Billy, I understand when you were talking about the tile industry. I had my own tile, custom shower, custom backsplashes, custom flooring. I had my own company for 15 years. And shortly after COVID, I had to close it because there were so many people that were coming in as contractors saying they can do the work for a third of the price. And all I was doing was like getting tire kickers. Oh, well, this person says they can do it for this. Why can't you do it for that? I go, well, what's their warranty? What's their, do they have any experience? Oh, no, it's just this guy, he does roofing. So he said he'd tile my shower on the side. I'm like, okay, but this is my living. I break everything down to you or for you. And I say, hey, if you want to save on materials, go buy it. I get a 20% discount. if that 20% I'm pass along to you isn't enough, then go buy them yourself, deliver them to your house, have them ready for me, and then you're going to spend more of your time, more of your money. I'm like, look, I'm trying to help you the most I can, but it wasn't enough for people, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm
So
done.
from a macro view, back to what Piper was saying, is how housing is not going to go down in the near future. So new construction. So maybe retail, if we back off of the demand. However, the National Home Builders Association is telling us by their reporting that demand is pent up. It's pent up. There's young people that want to buy a house. They either can't afford it or they sold their house. They made good money, but they're living with mom and dad now because the cost of a new house is so much, right? So it is like that
my
money that they made
25-year-old lives with me, Billy.
yeah, man. So it's interesting times from a macro perspective. I don't see it as far as new home construction. I don't see prices coming down for at least a good year or two that I can have some vision into the future on from our analytics. I don't see it coming down. We're continuously raising prices.
Yeah. Gotcha. And I want to remind the panel and the viewers also, how far down can the markets go? You got to remember the S&P right now is on average 22 times higher than their P&E, their profit and earnings. So like that's a huge bubble. We're talking if we had a hard hit recession, you could see the markets crash to levels that are unmatched by any of our memories of recessionary dips, drops, crashes, if you will. Like 2008 would be child's play in comparison to what we're at right now. So, 22 times over P&E on the S&P is super stupid high. So we could go down a lot.
It would make people saying Bitcoin's going to zero look like child's play.
It would. And I will say, and I talked about this. I don't want to like commandeer all of this panel of great.
No, that's okay. We're gonna move on in a second here.
By the way, Bitcoin's is about to break an alert level on me and be a new all-time high while we're live right now. It's right there. You guys can see it right there behind me. That's the chart I'm watching right there.
Joe already knew that. I can tell. Right Joe already knew that.
Right my alert just went off.
Alert just went off. Yep, there we go.
So what is the all-time high of Bitcoin at the moment? Because I just thought it was like 94,822.
So the high on Coinbase, the high today on Coinbase was 94,989. So right now we just hit 94,987. So it did not on mine. And on Coinbase, it hasn't hit it yet, but I do have an alert set right there ready to go. So we may get that live. That's what we're here for, right? Getting your mindset on crypto. How do we survive what's to come and leave something for our children, right? So here you go. This is the whole point of this panel. So, but I do want to put this out that I believe that there is a floor on Bitcoin that is going to be it's right now it's in people's mind. It's a speculative, arbitrary number, but there's a number that is going to cause massive institutional buy-in, because a lot of institutional money, they didn't catch it. They got in late in the game. Let's be honest. Even when they got into it at $25,000-$30,000, if they were starting to accumulate in hopes of that ETF being approved, they still got in late. I think that right now, the money that they've seen, okay, I made this much money buying at this level. I got it at 40. I got it at 30. It's now $95,000. I think there's a floor that if we hit that Bitcoin actually starts to bounce before the rest of the markets do. So,
yeah, and as Andrew says, yeah, they're already buying. Of course they are. Of course they are.
Yeah.
Does anybody else on the panel want to throw it? And thank you, by the way, Piper. That was amazing as always. Billy, thank you, appreciate it. Bedell, Joel, do you guys like to put anything in before I kind of like move us along a little bit? Add to that.
One quick thing, just on the general economy. a lot of things that are coming that basically resulted from this last election a few weeks ago
Yeah.
would tend to be bullish for the economy as a whole. Now, the question is, how many of those promises ever happen at all? But also, how many of them happen under what time frame? And could that cause things to shake up? Or are we due for kind of a general crash before anything can take into effect? And those are kind of things to watch as they come along. Like, does Doge get right to work? Are they going to do things like, let's just say, immigration crackdowns and tariffs before they do things like deregulation and lowering the taxes? Like, which
Right.
order do they do them in? And things could be very different depending on those things. So yeah, just keep an eye out.
Brilliant
I-
statement, dude. That is a brilliant statement because it is all about the timing, right? There's a lot of promises and policies that were put out there for this candidacy to happen, right? And so if they do them all at once, it would absolutely just bombshell the United States. But I also think that there's some very smart people that know if we haven't had a recession in a long time. We had a very slight sliver of one 2020, right? But recessions are actually healthy for debt-based currencies because it's a big reset button and it hurts a lot of people, but it resets a lot of timers on how long can we play the shell game. So, and I think they know that too. So a reset of a recession hitting would actually be advantageous for the tariffs to hit and all of that. So I bet that there is some timing that takes place with Doge, takes place with when do we do the start doing the tariffs and who do we hit first? And then when do we start deregulating to bring businesses to want to come back to the US, right? And I think that all of that timing are not just in competition with each other, where do they fit in priority, but also around the possibility of an economic reset for the debt-based system that we operate on. So yeah.
Exactly. What do you guys think? And again, I want to toss a piece of this to Billy, but like people who are looking to invest, who are trying to take in all this information that you guys just put out about the economy, which I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just scratching the proverbial surface at the end of the day. Okay. So like with that thought in mind, how does someone, like, what kind of mindset do they need to get in and think about investing, not only investing, but investing ahead of Wall Street, if that's even possible? I don't know if you want to kick it off, Billy, or somebody else wants to kick it off and let Billy come in. Billy talks a lot about mindset, as you heard him say earlier, and I'd like to get his take on it, but I'm not just relegating it to him. So,
Yeah, go ahead, guys. I'll be the caboose on this.
okay.
All right, so I'll start
I
it
kind
off.
of have. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So I'll kind of start it off. As far as the whole investing, you need to have money to invest. And right now, there's a lot of people hurting just to pay your bills. And of course, we talked about it earlier in reference to credit cards, just crazy high delinquency. You're going to get foreclosures. People are struggling, kids living with their parents till they're 25 and then some.
More,
So
yeah.
it's the economy is, unless you're a pretty female with a big old butt, the economy for everybody else is rough.
That's drying
Really
up too,
rough.
though. AI,
Yeah.
is destroying that.
So the economy is really rough. So it's very difficult for people to even think about investing when they're thinking about paying their lights. So there's like different classes. But once, of course, you either get a better job or, maybe even work a double job or two jobs, then, of course, you can start thinking about the investing. But I just kind of want to touch on that really quick. As far as, not everybody can invest, not everybody can do stocks or crypto. Right now, they don't have, an emergency fund. So that's what I get on that.
No, that's legit info. Legit. Who wants to go next? Anybody? No?
I'll jump in if so number one, Joe's right. And so we have all these different groups in crypto, right? So when we talk about this, it's like trading, the psychology of trading, and the fact that a lot of us, when we started trading, it was all about emotion, and that will kill you, right? So there is a lot of macro things going on, just like dollar cost averaging is a mini system, a financial system, right? That you can use, and it's pretty safe and it's pretty easy, and you have to be consistent and persistent, but it works, right? So it works. So that's kind of like the easy route to take, especially in crypto. But then you have all these other areas of the economy, whether you're talking about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, warrants, puts, calls, option, whatever you're talking about, that you can actually take advantage of this. And yesterday on our Twitter X space, we had a nice young man, 31 years old, but he's a very seasoned options trader, and he's making millions, right? He's doing a great job, works real hard, has drive, has passion, has persistence. He's a learner. He reads books all the time. He's always feeding his soul and always feeding his mind. And he's always sharpening the saw, trying to get better and better and better and better. And those I call those deposits into yourself. If you deposit into yourself, if you make these deposits into yourself, you keep sharpening your saw, you're going to get better. You're going to figure this out. You've heard this. We're all products of the 5 people that we hang around. And so those 5 people have to be smarter than you. They have to be better than you. They have to help you in some way get to another level, right? So we all in this network here that we're building out are helping each other grow. So we're leveraging our future right now, doing this show right now. Now, it's not monetary, but we all know that givers gain, and we all know that by making these deposits into ourselves and each other, the gain is going to come. It's going to come unexpected in some unknown way. A golden nugget in your path is going to pop up from making these deposits into yourself and to other people. So there's so many ways that you can capitalize on this marketplace. Now, right now, we're in the bull run in crypto, right? So one of the things that the trader, options trader, showed me some great wisdom. Even though he's just 31 years old, man, this guy has some serious wisdom. And full disclosure, my daughter's like 36 and my son's 31. So to me, they're kids, but they're not kids. But to me, they're kids, right? So, but he said something very interesting. He said, somebody asked him from the microphone, from the chat, why do you choose to invest in real estate, which is residential real estate, and not do apartments or commercial buildings or things like that? And man, quickly, so he's thought about it. He didn't even hesitate. He quickly said, well, in residential real estate, there's an emotional attachment from the individual buyers. When they go through the house and they fall in love with the house, there's this emotional attachment. So if they fall in love with that house, they're probably going to figure out how to buy that house. Whereas a real estate developer, a commercial real estate developer, or if he has lots of storage units or he has lots of commercial units, storefronts, they are not emotional buyers. They are like, look, I can go to this city, I could go to this town, I could go to this place, I could buy this land over here. They're looking for the really nuts and the bolts and more about the financial return than the residential buyer. So he knows that, and he's using that leverage to help himself, because he takes his profits from option trading and he flips it into real estate, which I think is brilliant, because to me, there's 2 things they're not making any more of, and that's Bitcoin and that's dirt. That's dirt, right? So I like both of those plays.
Excellent. Thank you, Billy. Hey, you brought up a good point about like giving, building for yourself and giving to yourself and helping, teaching yourself, that kind of thing. And I think that's a disservice that's been done to everybody. I don't care what age bracket you are here in this country. The education system here doesn't teach you about finance, doesn't teach you about economics, doesn't teach you about a business. It doesn't teach you about money. It doesn't teach you about any of that.
Teach you jack.
Yes, right. It really doesn't. And
I know how to find X.
Well,
it's an app on my phone.
That's it. That's it. We're done. We're done. We're done. But think about it, man. I mean, people are lazy. when it comes to like their investing and stuff. We were trained to do the 401k or the IRA, which was what, most people, it's set it and forget it. Not that they're supposed to do that, but that's what happens. I mean, I don't know. I think there has to be an active way, and unfortunately, people have to take it on themselves to learn to be more active and involved in their investment strategy. And now that I'm done on my soapbox there, feel free, somebody.
I'll chime in on that. Yeah, a lot of people, just like you said, I mean, it's the mindset. It really is. And what Billy said too, like you have to invest in yourself. But if you don't know about investing, or if you don't have your 5 friends that are, motivated, successful, or, driven, like you're going to be home watching TV, watching whatever's on the TVs now, whatever shows are popular. You're going to be watching that, or you're going to be on Twitter or TikTok or YouTube or what for hours and hours and hours, instead of
or X,
or like instead of the gentleman that Billy had on yesterday. Man, that was a great show, Billy. I forget his name, but this dude is like crazy smart. And yeah, every time they asked him a question, like he's not a scammer where he has to think about hold on, no, as soon as they would ask it, boom, he had the answer. And sometimes it was a little hard for him to do it because he's got so much in his brain. He's like, how do I organize it to make it make sense? And when you have the mindset of, first you have to have the mindset of investing. If you don't have that already, if your parents weren't investors, if you didn't come from money, if your friends don't do the whole investing, they just go and party every night, and like that's where you're gonna spend all your money, versus is like, wait a minute, what I'm doing is not working. Like, I'm over here struggling. I'm, eating ramen, or my lights are getting cut off. But my buddy, like, he's bought another property. What is he doing? And then, okay, he's reading books. He's getting mentors. He's going to whether seminars or whatever, he's doing. He's investing in himself. And that's what we have to do. We have to invest in ourselves in order to get to that next level, because it's really easy to play the victim. Oh man, it takes no effort.
Yeah.
Oh, poor me, look at me. It takes a lot of work to be like, man, this is where I was, and this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm going. So I just want to, just talk about that. In my opinion, you have to have the mindset, but you have the ability to know about that mindset. Because if you don't know about it, well, then you're just going to watch TV. So that's what I got.
Yeah, there's something else
Alex,
too.
go ahead. Go ahead, Dash.
Earning, right? That's something that people sleep on a whole lot, is being able to earn crypto. And you could earn crypto in a lot of ways you cannot earn fiat, or just difficult to. And like, for example, on X, I monetized on X. I get a little, I make some Bitcoin maximalists angry, and I get some money from it. But it was a chore to even get to that threshold of like, oh, I got to get 5 million impressions in 3 months, and then you got to like give them your ID, and then you got to do all this other stuff, and in order to do this, and then I use a network called InLeo, which is a blockchain based kind of X alternative, and you can just, all your posts start earning immediately. You get it out in crypto. You can be unbanked, anonymous, whatever, and there you go. It's like, oh, that wasn't open to me, but now it is. And especially the thing about the bull market is it's not just, oh, the tokens I already bought go up. It's people and projects are throwing around tokens like crazy. And so there might be a lot of jobs, like, for example, I do know that some people, I have seen some projects going on a Discord mod hiring spree or whatever, where they go and just say, hey, we need a community manager, we'll pay you in crypto, whatever. And you're not doing anything at work anyway. You're just, wasting time. Maybe if you work for your hand, if you have a real job and you work with your hands and build real things, that's not true. But there's a lot of ways you could just be like, I'll moderate 5 different Discords during daylight hours or on the weekends and evenings or whatever. People are throwing that money around for their projects. Just stack them, start doing it, and then maybe early 2026 they're gonna be, oh, sorry guys, the money ran out, we got to lay you guys off, and you can pretend go like this, but then you just got that nice little side income that again is in crypto. It's in the crypto world. There's not really a fiat world equivalent. It's just like, well, do I need a DoorDash? It's like that's hard, annoying work instead of just whatever else is going on in there, or airdrops or promos, sign us up. And then there's so many things like that you could just do, or earn crypto, or just say, hey, I will just offer your services on the side for crypto and just earn it way easier than, well, let me get your information and, cut you a check or whatever the hell, whatever. I don't know what people do with fiat anymore. I haven't known for a long time, but the point is,
They pay
it's just
bills
a lot. Yes, it's a lot easier to do this kind of stuff. And like, especially if you're like living, if you don't have a lot of means, if you just do some stuff on the side and then your crypto earnings, your fun money that you invest in or whatever else, then it's just like you don't have to worry about, oh, am I taking money out of my kids' mouths to go gamble on these shit coins? Like, no, it's like this is just it's all like earnings at that point. So
My
just
kids keep taking
look around
money
for
out of
that.
my mouth. That's what.
Amen to that, Billy.
right there.
Here, pro tip to add to that, because that's phenomenal point. Find a hobby that earns money, right? And Alex O made a comment here. Said, do an honest self appraisal of everything, of yourself, right? It's everything. And if you go, okay, I know how to do this. This is something that I can do. It's not going to take a lot of effort. I don't have to do a lot of earning. I know how to do things on Discord. So let me go do Discord mod, right? There's some other hacks though too that go right along with that that you were talking about there. Things like go on to Amazon, see what's trending on high sells, right? If you know how to use Instagram really well, go in there, find something that's trending really well. You can go onto Amazon and get a seller's application, get that code where you can now do referrals, and then go, doing this spring cleanup. This is going to be a great little patio setup with a trending selling outdoor seating set, stuff like that, using your link. And you can just do that. Like what's hot on Amazon right now. Let me put my link on Instagram or Instagram. Yeah. And do a picture. And anybody that goes in there and uses your link to buy, oh, that's cute. I like that. Oh, look at that plant. That would be great on my shelf. You get little fractional payments of affiliate money for your link. And it's something that you can do just taking, oh, this is trending. Let me take the picture right off of the Amazon site. Let me do up something catchy about it with Chat GPT to tell me what to write with this to get attention on it. And then use your link and just start making, accruing little tiny purchase money that people do. There's all kinds of pro hacks out there that you can do. And that's a phenomenal point that you bring up about finding that side hobby, make that extra money. One of the things that I brought up to my community a while back was, look, guys, take a look at your income. Take a look at what you owe out, your due outs every month. And every dollar has a name. If it doesn't have a name, then that's probably savings or investment money. Split it 50-50, right? But if you don't have any extra money that don't have a name on it at the end of the month, start taking a look at what has a name that you can fire. Think of your life and your household amounts that you owe, your household due outs as a business. Okay, I have Hulu, I have Netflix, I have Disney Plus, I have whatever else, right? One of the, the 9 streaming services that it takes to be cable again. Because we got rid of cable for 9 streaming services now, right? And start looking at it and going, you know what, this money goes to you every month, Hulu, and I don't think I need you to do the next 3 months of work. So you're fired. You're out of here. Now this money can be named investment and savings, right? If you have more than one streaming service, take a look at what you're watching and ask yourself why you don't go, I'm going to pay for one streaming service. I'm going to binge watch this stuff for 3 months. Cancel it, get the other one, watch it for 3 months. If you take a look at just your streaming services, I believe most people could probably cut out on average $40 a month. There's money that you did not have, that you now don't have to have a name on. So there's little life hacks and finding a hobby, doing things like, figuring out where you can shave a little bit of money and give it a name, Bitcoin every month. And then things that you can, look at and go, how can I've got a good eye for what's for Telegram or Instagram. Sorry, Joe, you got me saying Telegram all the time. Instagram, put a picture up. Just go to Amazon. You can see what is trending and sells. Get your little account. It doesn't cost you anything, and just start throwing it out there. If nobody clicks it, you didn't lose anything. A little bit of time. If someone clicks it, you never know. You might actually get one of those pictures that goes viral, and now everybody's using your link. So.
All great information, and we got a couple of questions and comments with regard to that. But before we get to that, I wanted to welcome Daniel Diaz, who just jumped in. You look like you're driving, my friend. Are you okay to have this conversation or what?
Yeah, this isn't my first rodeo. I used to have a YouTube channel where I talked all the time while I was driving, so it's not a problem. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you. We've already kind of done introductions, but where you're just jumping in, we'll take a quick pause here, do a little bit of introduction, about a quick 2-minute where you're at, who you are. I know I told everybody Citizens for Sound Money, but give them the quick 411, and then we'll jump back in.
Yeah, so my name is Daniel Diaz. I'm Executive Director of Citizens for Sound Money, and to give you an idea of how I got this position, you need to understand a little bit about my background. I'm a first-generation Cuban American, so I was raised hearing stories about how our great country of Cuba and all my family's property, businesses, and everything were all taken away by the communist regime of Fidel Castro. My family fled Cuba after my grandfather was arrested for trying to buy more meat for the family and get extra rations. The communist informants on the block heard about it. The police came, threw him in jail, and the minute he got out, my family said he told my family that we needed to leave. So when they got here to America, they confiscated everything except for the clothes on their back, and my grandfather lost everything, and he had to start from scratch pouring cement on sidewalks in Miami in 1965. From 1965 through the 70s and 80s, he worked himself up to that construction company, bought it, sold it in the 1980s, left an inheritance for us and our family, and he rebuilt everything. So I'm extremely grateful for the opportunities that America has provided my family. And hearing all the atrocities of communism, I promised myself I'd never allow what happened in my family's country to happen in my country. So at the age of 16, I dedicated my life to preventing that. And I've had a 24-year career in political consulting and activism. I took a sabbatical to get my master's. During that time, I was an insurance agent, and then after I got my master's, I was a stockbroker. I hated Wall Street so much, I went to politics. And then tells you how bad it was. And then in 2020, my COVID happened. I started a car rental business. I had a business partner. My business partner was saying, you need to buy Bitcoin. And I said, absolutely not. Being educated in the fiat economic system by getting my Series 7 and being a financial advisor, I'm like, Bitcoin's backed by nothing. Forget, I'm not going to invest anything. For months, she tried to get me to invest. Finally, she teamed up with a friend named Daniel. In September of 2020, I told both of them, never speak to me about Bitcoin again. I'm never going to buy it. And he called me. He's like, hey, let me show you 2 videos. After these 2 videos, if you're not convinced of blockchain technology and Bitcoin, we won't talk to you about it. I didn't even need to watch the second one. The first one was Don Tapscott on how blockchain is changing the world. And then near the end of the video, when I realized that the immutability of the blockchain and the fact that we could put land deeds and titles on the blockchain to prove, and I realized that if we had blockchain technology in the 60s and 50s, I could go back after the communist regime was overthrown to improve my family, had their property and land confiscated, and get reparations of that land back. So I realized blockchain technology can provide more freedom economically, personally, and politically than any political activity of man. So then, long story short, launched an NFT project backed by Bitcoin and gold, teamed up with Citizens for Sound Money. They were so impressed with my political connections when we were trying to push the Texas bill to make gold and silver electronic legal tender. And they hired me as legislative director. 5 months later, October 1st of last year, I became executive director of Citizens for Sound Money, and here I am now lobbying across the country, trying to make gold and silver legal tender along with electronic gold and silver legal tender because it's constitutional in Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Boom. That was more than 2 minutes, but that was as fast as I can think I can say everything.
That's all right. That's okay. Appreciate that. The backstory does make a difference. It really does. And I definitely want to talk about gold. We're going to give you your chance to do that as we kind of go on here. Does anybody want to throw in anything before I get to a couple of these comments? I'd like to show everybody from the conversations we just had. No? Yes? Maybe? We good?
I'm good.
All right. Well, Joe, yours is the first one right here. Candy says you got to find yourself a talented mentor that can help you. Basically, he's recommending you, of course, if you're looking for trading. But that applies even for, like Billy was talking about, where he's talking about, building in for yourself. Sometimes yes, you can read books. Yes, you can listen to podcasts. Yes, you can do all that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's good to have a mentor. And especially if it's something that you don't already know how to do, and that kind of thing. So very important point here by Candy, I think. And then now there's a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Go. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it's very important as far as a mentor. Not just me, but just any mentor you get. One, make sure they know what they're doing and they don't double talk. But one of the biggest things a mentor does, it reduces all the times that you're going to fall on your face and get back up, because they're going to tell you all the mistakes they made. And what you're actually paying for is their experience.
Yes.
Because you can read all this stuff in books and audiobooks and everything else, but what you don't get is the experience. So that's why it's very important. If you can afford it, get a mentor. When I first started, I had 4 mentors right off the bat in the first month, because I did not want to go through all the mistakes. Did I go through some? Yes, of course, because I had to learn on my own. They say the stove's hot. I said, how hot is it? I was like, oh, yeah, that's hot. So, I mean, you have to learn for yourself. But the main thing is, if you can afford it, get a mentor, because it will save you more money instead of, learning from the market. So,
Agreed. Joel, this one is a question on what you were talking about, getting a job that pays in crypto. He's asking, do you got a link to a job board, or do you just find these gigs other ways? Maybe you can expound about that a little bit.
Yeah. So crypto is very decentralized right now, in that it just, anyone can start a project, anyone does whatever. So because of that, there's no real central repository of stuff. I mean, for actual jobs, probably LinkedIn, they do have a crypto category you can search for. That's more like companies, right? Big companies in the crypto world. But as far as this whole DAO and everything, I hear a lot of stuff through the grapevine, honestly. Just that's a good thing about being in communities, on shows, things like that, is you just start to run into a lot of different things. And particularly find a friend who works in business development, specifically one of those biz dev guys, which, by the way, I do. It's the job as the professional guy who knows a guy. And so as that person, there's always someone saying, hey, do you know this? Do you know that? And you get a room full of these people, and they know everyone in crypto and everything kind of going on. And then they're like, oh, at least they'll be able to point you in the right direction. That if I knew nothing and had to go there, that would be the one breadcrumb I would give myself, is just find someone who does business development somewhere in the crypto world, especially the scrappier, low level crypto world. We're not talking about head of business development for BitPay or Coinbase or something. That's a little on the higher level of things. But then at the lower level, you get a lot of oh, Edge Wallet is looking for a new community monitor. Oh, there's the Waves platform is hiring this. And then, oh, there's just so many different things. And I'm not sure which market cap, whether it's CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap or whatever is more accurate on that. But look under the DAO category. Any of these things that have DAOs also have treasuries, and either can go to them directly, or you can go to just see what's going on and see what people who are funded by them, they might be able to just do something else. So again, just be scrappy about it. Go look around, see what's going on. And there's nothing that quite is a substitute for that person-to-person connection. And it's kind of funny how crypto, despite being this soulless tech that, it's not really, it's one of the most social places in the world, as far as everyone's running around talking to everyone, making new friends, talking about this. Oh, have you heard about this thing? And very peer-to-peer as far as the social network, not a very top-down hierarchical system. So, embrace the decentralized networking and you're good to go.
And Billy posted in the comments right here. So by all cryptojobslist.com for a more centralized thing. But I like the idea about going and finding DAOs because that seems to me where you're really at that grassroots level of potentially finding a job in the crypto space. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's what you work for, is a DAO, correct? The Dash DAO, if I got that correct.
Yep, the oldest DAO out there right now.
Yeah. So, all right, Dave Digital, thanks for that question. Appreciate that. All right, well, I know we got a little bit off topic there, not too much, because I mean, if you're earning the money, that's one way of starting to put that money aside and start saving. And again, if we're talking crypto here, but it doesn't have to be, it could be gold for that matter, real estate, whatever. You can start stacking it aside for changing and creating generational wealth. Billy, when he was talking a while back, was talking potentially about DCAing. Now, I think he was referring DCAing into like cryptocurrency as part of your means of the ends, if you would. But I'd like if we could maybe talk about that as a group right now, because I think personally that's one of the best ways to help to build that portfolio that you can pass on, or whatever the case may be, in order to change your wealth profile. Now, again, I know the majority of us here are in crypto, so that's where we're taking it from. But I'm also interested in Daniel's take with regard to, doing the same thing with gold. So maybe we can, Billy, would you mind kicking us off, only because you kind of started it in your initial conversation? Then we'll kind of go around the horn here a little bit.
Yeah. So Piper in our private chat here said he had to get going. I
didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Piper, I don't know if you took off yet or kind of.
No, I'm still here. My camera froze on me too. So.
Okay. Yeah. If you wanted to jump in here and say your adios, man,
yes,
his dog's going crazy. He's got man's best friend right there.
I have a Cuban refugee, a multi-generational Cuban refugee, a Havanese. So she wants her dinner. So
he's ringing that bell. She's like, dinner time.
She is. But no, I just wanted, I'm frozen here, but you guys can hear me just fine. So I just want to wrap it up. Like, I appreciate the idea behind the show, Keith. It's great. Thank you for having me on. Like, this is one of those things that people just need to understand. Like, life's hard and it's not going to get easier. It's just the facts is that you've got to find a way to grease those rails so that you can get ahead of the pack, and then let some of the waves push you on forward. And I think you guys have a great panel here to put that information out. But the last thing I'll leave everybody with is it's always best to have a little bit of money left to go in and not be all in, because you can be not enough in. Billy knows this, but you could also be at a point where you go, oh man, this dip was harder than I thought, and I don't have anything left for it. Patience, as Alex O said, have patience. If you're starting young and you're committed to it, disciplined, like Alex O said, and dollar cost averaging, not putting everything in and waiting for those right moments to add more, you're going to do fine. It's just a matter of staying on that track and being committed to that journey. So,
yep, amen to that.
Yep, very true.
Hey, Piper, again, I know I thanked you earlier, but I really appreciate you being here. I understand you got to go again. Thank you. I really appreciate you and all the insights you've given us tonight.
I appreciate it, man. You guys all take care and have a good night.
All right.
See you, man.
Thank you as well.
Take care, buddy.
Take care.
You too, Piper. Have a great night.
And again, for everybody who may be just tuning in, I know I said it way at the beginning, but we've had a lot of people tune in since then. All of the people who are on the panel tonight, if you want to reach them, all of their contact information is in the description of this live stream. So you've got all their socials, contacts, whatever, businesses, whatever information they have out there on front facing, you have it in the description. So to kick back, I was hoping to maybe start out with the DCA thing, and Billy, if you don't mind, maybe you can pick it up, and like I said, we can go around the horn a bit.
Yeah. So it really goes back for me into the investment world. So I was lucky enough to have a mentor that was an investment specialist, a registered securities advisor, and I don't know how it happened. It was a God thing in my mind. She came into my life when I was at a point where I needed someone to come into my life, like 18 years old. So she taught me everything about investing, and she's passed now. She's gone now, but she wrote her own book, on investing. She was an Oppenheimer fund investment analyst, and she told me and showed me early on about dollar cost averaging and the power of compounding and the power of future value of money versus present value of money, and how to calculate that and what you have to do. So all these core concepts that I just take for granted now, as far as it's part of my wisdom in my life, right? Pass it down to my kids, try to teach them these principles. But really, it started for me way back in stocks and mutual funds and the power of compounding. So it's the same principle with Bitcoin or with crypto. You're timing it. You're coming in once a week or once a month or whatever time period you choose that you can put $10 in. That's what I tell my kids. Like, you can't tell me you don't have $10 because I know a Starbucks coffee costs $6 and you always have a Starbucks coffee in your hand. So, it's just coming in at the same time every week, every month, or every 2 weeks. And you're buying at the highs and you're buying at the lows. And at the end of the year, your average buy is way better than if you just bought at the highs, or, so you're averaging a dollar cost averaging in. That principle alone, over a 30-year period, you'll be a millionaire, easy. Probably a multimillionaire in today's times, because the dollar is junk and it takes 10 of them to buy what one used to buy, right? So it's a principle that I think most of the people in crypto in our communities, that we're going to have a lot of new retail people come in that might not know this, but for the most part, I think everyone understands pretty much the concept and the power behind and the leverage behind dollar cost averaging. But that's just one way to do it, right? There's 1,000 other ways. Trading is one. We were earlier talking about passive income. And just this morning, I have a lot of NFTs. I'm in a lot of NFT communities, but I stake these NFTs. And just this morning, I went in and got 250 free ADA because I staked my rewards. I converted my smokes into ADA and took 250 ADA, put it in my wallet. So nice. There's this passive income thing that you can get into the crypto market. I get 2 DOT every day, and I have for 3 years. I get 2 Polkadot every single day from staking. And over 3 years, it adds up, right? And now if Polkadot finally gets out of this basement cellar that, all these other coins have run, but, things like Matic, Pol, Polkadot, Atom, like, these are great projects, great utilities, but I need those things to run for it. I need those to get going. But you can stake that. I'm staking a lot of Atom, right? I'm in the whole Atom community, and so I've been earning, even though the price is down, basically what I call your interest, right? So if you put your money in a bank, you earn a little interest. The same thing here. I'm putting my Atom into the staking pool, and I'm earning interest. And the benefit of that is they see your activity, and then you get other airdrops because you're active in that. So you get even more than the interest. So there's all different kinds of ways to come in and earn in the crypto space, which I can't remember which one alluded to that. I think as you, Dash, somebody alluded to that, and that's exactly right. I'm a big fan of that.
I need to learn a little bit more from you, Billy, because I'm getting like 4, maybe 5 ADA a week just from staking, and for you to get an airdrop of 250, nice.
Yeah, so stake a lot. I'm just telling you right now. So
yeah, I'm sure it's a lot more than I have, but I mean, if I can get a portion of that with what I have, I'd be okay.
So Ada Ace is in our communities, in Piper community and the Billy Goat Tales community, and he's a big Cardano guy, and you need to bring him on and talk to him because he's created. We all know about, well, maybe we don't, but there's drips, right? So
yes,
you can drip and get coins. And so he's created a mechanism that allows you to buy an NFT and you can drip in multiple discords and pick up multiple coins. So he would be a good one to talk to. But these are little things that just earn you passive income. And if you pay attention to them, and it adds up, guys. So it sounds small, like you're saying, 3 or 4 ADA, and it's small. But if you have multiple drips or multiple ways to stake, and it starts to add up, it starts to become very real and very much part of your plan, your financial plan. And that's another thing, getting back to the whole, you always have to have a financial plan. In the crypto space, like when I first came in, it was like, wow, there's a lot of degens in this space. Like it's just like, I want to put $10 in and make $1 million. And I was like, man, okay, somebody might be able to do that. And we might know people that have done that. I do know a couple people that have done that, but generally speaking, that's not going to work. All right. So you have to have a financial plan, and you have to understand your own risk tolerance, and you have to have your own goal. You have to have your own financial goal that's based on not hopium and just a dream. Well, we all want to be multimillionaires. No, you gotta do a budget. You have to understand what your cost is. You have to understand what the nut is that you have to crack every month. You have to pay yourself first. So here's another concept. Luckily I was taught this at 18 from Tama. Pay yourself first. So what does that mean? Well, we're taught, if we're taught anything, we hear it from our grandparents or parents. We're taught, oh, we got to pay the house payment. We got to pay the car payment. We got to pay our insurance. We got to pay our utility bills, and you got to buy food and and then whatever's left is your disposable income. And that's what you can use to invest. That's all wrong. That's all wrong. Period. It's wrong. The first thing you have to do is pay yourself first. That right there, that one thing, get your check. It's direct deposited. Go DCA in the Bitcoin. Go DCA into your mutual fund. Go buy your stock. Go put it in your savings if that's what you want to do. I'm not here to give you specifics because I'm not a financial advisor anymore. But you got to pay yourself first. And that mindset right there, paying yourself first, take that with you, put that in a pocket and use that. I'm telling you to change your life. Because over time, it's hard to think 30 years ahead because we're always in the moment. You're 18, you're 20, you're 25, you're 30. But over time, the most powerful leverage of everything is time. Time value of money is the secret. The more time you have, and the more discipline you have, and the more persistent you are with this plan, the more you're going to make, and the more net worth you're going to, the more wealth you're going to build. So pay yourself first. That's one thing I would tell you.
Excellent. You just, I mean, everything I was going to say, you just hit on it. So thank you so much for that. I know that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing, because you want to know what, you'd also added some stuff that I honestly didn't even think about. You were talking, and I'm going to ask Joe to expand upon this a little bit there. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Daniel swapped around here. We got you, bud. Welcome back.
Hey.
I'm going to ask Joe to expand upon it in a minute with regard to how else can you earn and how else can you stack, and trading is one of those ways. He and I were actually talking about it on a live stream we did on Monday, and Joe gave like a little mini class on how to do that. But things, trading, mining, like you said, staking, etc. All good information. I said we're going to go around the horn. I'll tell you what, now that we move people around, Joel, you want to take it next, and we'll go with you and go around the horn.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. What are we about?
Basically about the different ways. Well, we started talking about DCA. Is DCA a good way to basically plan for this future portfolio, this future wealth transfer, and or do you have other ways, like Billy was mentioning a bunch of different things that you see as a way to do that?
Yeah, I think that one thing is interesting is there's a giant gulf, I would say, in crypto knowledge between people who use it and who just buy tokens on a centralized exchange. And there are a lot of situations where, like, for example, I know like the FTX collapse wiped a lot of people out. A lot of them because they did not have like the technical knowledge to understand how to self custody or how to stake in actual protocols and things like that. So they just said, "Oh, I'm going to go like give my money at this bank like institution that's telling me they're going to give me all this money," not understanding that they're not FDIC insured, they're not, anything, not understanding the house of cards that they're on, and they just get wiped out. And so there's so many people that could be and have been DCAing like very like faithfully and consistently over time and just got wrecked because they didn't have that kind of knowledge. So I definitely think that um, teaching people to actually use crypto as it is and understand it is a great way of kind of insulating yourself from that. There's also a big thing of uncertain times make things change, and some things like there's a reason why each of the Winklevoss twins and Jesse Powell alone, each of them gave $1 million each to the Trump campaign moving up this, because it was kind of like, we're going to try a last thing before we need to just exit the US. If this doesn't work, we're going to need to go. And if things had gone differently, who still knows what's going to happen now? But if things had gone differently, our access to these crypto platforms could be very different. And so you could all of a sudden have to say, well, what are you answer a bunch of different questions to just access your Coinbase account, which is already happening, by the way, from what people tell me. And, well, you have withdrawal limits for this much unless you can prove that you're, and a friend of mine who lives on crypto got paid in crypto, and he was blocked from swapping it on Shapeshift because it was allegedly some like tainted coins or whatever. And the person who paid him had been basically mining Bitcoin and buying off exchanges in like the 2010 days, like really back then. And all of a sudden, like those gates start getting closed off because things changed in like the regulatory space. And so if you actually own your crypto and know how to use your crypto, that's a big kind of safety thing that people could really be saved from having these kinds of things, because you don't want to have to deal with all the extra risk that is, I'm going to invest in these risky, unproven by the market, I guess, assets. And then I'm going to take on the risk of the companies holding them are going to have different regulatory issues that hit them. They're going to get sued. They're going to become insolvent, whatever else is going to happen. You should not have to take on that risk too. You should take the hard lessons of, I have to learn how to self-custody, write down the seed phrase. Oh, wait, I lost that one wallet because I was an idiot. I didn't back it up in time. And just like those annoying things, and having to become a little technical before the space catches up and makes this stuff easy as using a centralized exchange to use everything completely decentralized. Figure it out now so you're ahead of the curve. It's just like, can you change the oil in your car, right? If you can't, well, the auto mechanic is, closed down the street, or, they need whatever. Who knows? Can you start a basic fire? Can you do whatever? Those basic, like, I would even call it like prepper light, like not full on prepper stuff, because that could be useful too. But that's a much more involved hobby, but you just know some basic things. I would encourage people to do that and just know how are you going to buy and spend / sell your crypto if you can't use these Coinbases out there, or at least like, do you know there's a few others? Do you know, is there an ATM you can go to, a crypto ATM that will buy, not only let you buy crypto, but also sell crypto? Like, how do you figure that kind of stuff out? Can you spend it here? And like, I have a friend who's trying to go on vacation right now, who's, I would say, late 60s or something. He's been DCAing Bitcoin, and he's like, I need to get to my bank account. And unfortunately, he bought from Swan Bitcoin, I believe, which is a one-way ticket. Like, they don't let you go the other way, from my understanding. Don't sue me if this is not true, by the way. But it's just I'm having to like walk him through the process of like, these are the options you would have for getting liquid capital now when you need it in a short period of time. And it just didn't know that before, and you should know that. You should figure that out now. and then
Yep.
you're going to be safe. And then everything else is just like popping popcorn while the world burns, and you're doing okay.
No, that you bring up a valid point. It's part of why I did my Living on Crypto series after our first interview, because if you're not hitting those touch points, you don't want to be hitting them when you really need the money. So that's a good and important point. Thank you, Mr. Diaz. You have a completely different perspective. Or maybe you have a multiple perspective, because you started with Bitcoin, but then you're off to gold, and I'd love to hear your perspective on both. To be completely honest, is about as it relates to DCA and or like Joel just mentioned. Okay, you got to be able to use it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with everything everyone has said so far. So to understand my position with gold and silver and cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, it comes down to the definition of money. What is money? There are multiple definitions. Like Mike Molina has 7 characteristics of sound money. But universally with modern monetary theorists and Keynes and Austrian economists, we can agree on 3 things. First is a medium of exchange. Anything can be a medium of exchange. A piece of wood, lint, whatever, anything. Nothing special about that. The second thing is a unit of account. So 100 pennies for $1, half an ounce, a ton, anything that has a unit of account. So pretty much anything, right? You can make anything into a number or a fraction. What differentiates currency from money is the store value. Gold and silver for millennia has always stored value. During the time of the Roman Empire, an ounce of gold could buy an expensive toga. In 1913, before the Federal Reserve was created, $20 would buy you an ounce of gold. And what could you buy with an ounce of gold in 1913? If you wanted to, you could buy a top hat, tuxedo, shirt, shoes, pocket watch, chocolates, flowers for your date. What can you buy with $20 today? Maybe a decent pizza, right? But what can you buy with an ounce of gold? $2,650 right now. Well, if I wanted to, I could buy a toga or a top hat, shirt, tuxedo, shoes, pocket watch, flowers, and chocolates for my date, because gold and silver is money. Everything else, every other asset, all cryptocurrencies, all real estate, have to measure itself against gold as a central monetary unit of which all assets measure itself. In fact, until Alan Greenspan sold out his Austrian economic beliefs, he was a sound money advocate. He tried to keep the inflation rate of the interest rates tied to the inflation rate of gold. But then he got all enamored with Wall Street, decided to bail them all out in the 90s, and we lost the true Alan Greenspan. But gold and silver is money. And what I do is I trade gold and silver into different assets. So I have digital gold and physical gold, and digital silver and physical silver. And all other assets are wealth generating assets, whether it's income like real estate, where you have rental properties, commercial, that's income generating, dividends, annuities. These are all income generating. You want that. You don't want just to trade. You also want income in case you lose your job. You have something to fall back on, not just your investments. Then you have asset generating like stocks and cryptocurrency. I think Bitcoin is the greatest wealth generating asset in the history of mankind. I wealth cycle into other assets. When the election, I sold all my Bitcoin on September 17th because of the rate cuts. And then immediately after the election, I bought into Bitcoin, wrote it up 10K, and then sold it. I'm out of Bitcoin again. I'm waiting to see what happens. My long-term analysis at the monthly, weekly, daily, and charts show that Bitcoin's overbought on the RSI and the MACD. I mean, it has some momentum at the 1 year and the 1 hour and the 4 hour. So there's maybe some momentum there. But when you compare the MACD over since Bitcoin was created, every single time the MACD and the RSI get to these levels, we have between a 65 to 85% drop in Bitcoin. I think it's overbought. But there's the Trump effect, which has baffled politicians and could baffle people in technical analysis. So maybe the Trump effect will push it up to 120 or more. But based on my technical analysis on long-term charts going from the top down to the bottom, we have a short-term window, I think, of Bitcoin growing. I'm out of it because I'm in wealth-preserving mode, because outside of cryptocurrency and technical analysis, the fundamentals of the global economy is shit. I'm hopefully
True that.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the United States is 126 or 130% debt to GDP ratio. What that means is, let's say, assume it's a 130. For every dollar that we borrow when we print currency, we're only adding 70 cents to the GDP. We can't borrow ourselves into prosperity like we did in the 80s, where we were only like at 20%. So every dollar we borrow, we're adding 180% or $1.80 to the GDP. Now it's the opposite. Every dollar we're adding or we're borrowing, it's only adding a certain amount. So my DCA 100%. I DCA when I was buying Bitcoin up until September. I was DCAing every paycheck right into Bitcoin. Now I'm DCAing into physical gold and silver, because what really freaked me out was the Hurricane Helene that destroyed North Carolina. They had no cell phone reception. They had no internet. They had no power. How could they buy anything? That was a big wake-up call for me. I'm like, I need to start transferring a lot of my digital gold and silver and crypto into physical in case something like that happens. Natural disasters, you can't prepper. Somebody said something about prepping.
Yeah,
I'm not a super prepper, but I got water, I got gas, I got a generator, I got radio. I'm ordering a ham radio in case shit hits the fan. Like, I'm prepping, and I have a decent amount of physical assets so I can transact in an economy. So my recommendation is, look, when I was a stockbroker to make sure I was following my fiduciary responsibility to my clients, there's a formula that stockbrokers should use to determine how much these people should have in safe assets and how much they can risk. Essentially, your age is what you should have in safe assets. When I was a stockbroker, I'd say cash, bonds, and gold and silver. Now, knowing the problem with the current economic system, I say you should have your age in gold and silver, digital and physical, because you can also earn a yield on digital gold and silver, and you should have some physical as well. The difference between your age and 100 is what you can risk, because the idea is if you have your age in safe assets, if you lose it all in the stock market or cryptocurrency, you have enough time and enough assets to try to recuperate your losses. So that's what every registered rep and financial advisor should advise at the basic level. Now, everybody's different. Everybody has different risk tolerances. If somebody
Risk
wants
tolerance
to risk
matters. Yes.
risk tolerance matters. If somebody wants to risk it all, risk it all. If somebody will kill themselves if they lose $1, put it all in safe assets, right? So it's all customized to the client. But the baseline is your age and safe assets, and the difference, you can risk it. So I don't know if that answers what we were discussing.
That's great, because you went through a piece of how you rotated through from Bitcoin. Okay, sold it into gold, then took that, went back into Bitcoin. I appreciate that. I wanted everybody to be able to hear that piece. We're running long, and I want to give these last two guys a chance to put in their information on this, and then maybe we'll start to try and pull it together here, because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Bedell, throw in what you need to throw in with regard to DCA.
Besides the fact that I regret not doing it this whole time.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with Daniel, and him going back into like gold and silver and all that, because it's a smart choice. But I also feel like on the agreeing side of that is there's other things you can DCA into, like QQs and things like that too, to protect your assets. Because like with the Hurricane Helene, there was people that literally lost everything. They weren't even home, so they didn't even have a chance. Like if they had all their gold and silver or whatever in a safe inside the house, and the house is completely demolished, and it's spread over say 100 miles down the river, good luck finding that safe. And like the whole prepper thing, I understand that, but if you keep everything at home, it's not always the smartest choice. That's what Hurricane Helene also showed.
Yep.
No, I agree. But that's going on like way more advanced prepper of having stashes in multiple places around the country and this, that, and the other, and that's like opening up a whole big can of worms. But
I love it though.
Yeah.
No, but something people should think about. People really should think about that. I mean, even for something as simple as what Joel was saying, you got this complication with seed phrases or this or that. Well, guess what? Even with seed phrases, you got them all in your safe in your house. Guess what? See you later, alligator. It's over.
Or you keep them in the safety deposit box at the bank.
Same
I
difference,
mean,
yeah, because half the banks
I
are gone
mean,
that were in that area. Yeah.
yeah, but by me, the banks change names every 3 or 4 years. Because it's a loophole. It's a business loophole. Because I got a buddy in Wisconsin that does tile, and I keep asking him, I'm like, dude, why do you keep changing your name? Like, why do you close this business down and start up a new business every 3 or 4 years? He's like, taxes. He's like, you get all these incentives the first couple of years, and after that, you start getting bent over taxes.
Yep. Yep.
So you cut your loss, start up a new company, and do it all over again. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I agree with Crypto
Nope, go ahead.
Badel. How do you say her name? Badel?
Yep.
Yeah, but I'll.
I agree with him. I mean, I have enough metal to where I can put it in a backpack and go. When the hurricane, what was after Helene? What just hit me? What was the hurricane? Milton. When Milton hit, I had all my stuff in my go bag. I have quite a bit of silver. I'm a big dude. I can carry it. And I have quite a bit of gold. And I do fractional. Silver, I only do ounces. I don't do anything bigger than an ounce just because it's a lot harder to liquidate. And if the silver hits where I think it's going to hit, it's going to get pretty high. And gold, man, I only buy fractional gold. Not a lot of people can buy an ounce of gold, and it's easier to spend a $500 piece or a $300 piece, or use gold backs, which is basically $5. So I have stacks of gold backs. I have a bunch of fractional gold. And in fact, I don't have any ounces because I just think in a prepper situation, getting rid of an ounce is going to be a lot more difficult than popping off $100 or whatever with gold. And in silver, I mean, I have a pretty decent stack because I just opened up a bullion business, but my personal stack, not my working stack, I can put in a backpack and run. So I agree with you. I mean, with prepping, you always have to think of the worst case scenario. And yeah, I don't trust anybody with my gold and silver, so I'm not gonna, give it to family or anything. But I will bury it somewhere if I have to, make a treasure map.
There you go.
But here's something else that somebody told me. I didn't even think about it. Is say you only buy ounces of gold, or say half ounces. Okay, but you travel, say, 5 miles. You find this person has a bottle of water and a steak. And you want that, and they only want, say, 1/10 of an ounce, and all you have is a half an ounce.
You cut
Hey, there you go. Right,
you have a
exactly.
scale. So you do what our founding fathers did, right? So I carry this around just because I'm a lobbyist and I like showing politicians what our first legal tender coin was. This right here, if you guys can see it, this is an 8 real. They also call it pieces of 8, the pirates, because you can cut these up into 8 pieces. So back then, they used to call a quarter 2 bits because when you cut this into 8 pieces, a quarter was 2 bits of $1. So let me pull this out. So this was the first legal tender coin in America. That the Constitution, when the Constitution says $1, they were talking about the Spanish milled dollar. So yeah, I mean, if you have a half ounce, you just cut it up and you weigh it with a scale. That's what they used to do. So metal is. I mean, they even sell rounds already perforated where you have to just snap the silver into 8 bits. So yeah, and gold's really soft, so gold's a lot easier to cut up. I mean, this is worst case scenario where Starlink gets knocked out by nukes in the space. Like, this is worst case scenario. Like, when the whole system goes down, you're going to need to do this. I don't recommend, cutting up your gold and silver, but you can because we did it before for thousands of years.
The best precious metal in a disaster is actually lead.
Yes.
Where
Yeah, you can actually trade rounds for things. That's going to I got a few tens of thousands of rounds in my safe. So I'm pretty good.
I mean, to my knowledge, isn't that where the name "What Shot" came from?
Oh, I do have a question.
A shot of whiskey for.
There's some
round.
dispute over that. I haven't gone
I
super
do have a
deep. I've heard
question,
that though.
but before I ask the question, Keith, I think you wanted to say something.
Well, yeah, thank you. I just wanted to give Billy, just let me know he's got to really get going pretty soon. So I'd like to give him a chance to just kind of wrap any of his thoughts, that kind of thing. And Billy, again, I really appreciate you being here. I want to respect your time, and that's why I'm trying to move it along here a little bit. But please, before you go, any last thoughts, my friend?
No, well, it's great meeting Daniel and Dash. It's always great to come on these different shows and meet new people with like minds and interesting takes, and even some differences. I can always learn. I can always grow. I can always expand my database, right? So thank you for the invite. Yeah, I do got to get rolling. I penciled in like actually the boss, right? I told her it's going to be an hour and a half. So so
I know we've gone long. I'm sorry, man.
That's cool, man. It happens. No big deal. But it's great seeing you guys again. Thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate the chat. I appreciate everybody in there. Jesse, Allset, Mike, Burke, Dave Digital, Dutchy. You guys are just always around. We appreciate you so much. So just want to say thank you. God bless you guys, and we'll catch you next time, man. I got to get going.
All right,
Go,
thanks,
man.
Billy.
Go take care of family. That's what matters.
Thanks, Billy.
Yeah.
All right. And again, for those who are watching and don't follow, Billy already links all of his information in the description. Now, Joe, listen, I know you had a question, and by all means ask it, but when you're done, I'd like to round this out with you basically telling everybody what I'd love for you to go over briefly, at least, what we were talking about using your trading skills to start to stack some of those sats. But you had a question, go ahead.
Yeah, so as far as the question goes, I wrote it down, and it's more of a statement, and it was to what you were saying in reference to DCAing. No matter what type of DCA you do, it's best to do it. Whether you're stacking stuff for your pew-pews, whether you're stacking gold, silver, Bitcoin, crypto, or even prep stuff. You know, you have an electric fan, you have a generator, you have a backup battery. You can't do it all at once. DCA, you know, or save money so that you can get those items. Very important. But yes, in reference to crypto, what I like to do and what I'm going to do this season is I'm going to have an investment bag and I'm going to have a trading bag so that I can DCA into my investment bag. So you never hear a millionaire say, oh yeah, I got 80% on my stock. They hold it for years and years and they get, you know, 10, 20, whatever X. So that's the whole thing. You know, the investors, they'll buy low and they just keep it, you know, and if it goes up and down, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trade that same coin. And let's say I make 30%, 50%, whatever it is. When it retraces, because it will, I'll get that other 30, 40%, whatever it is, and I'll buy and I'll start DCAing into my long-term investment bag. And that's the easiest way to do it, to where you still have the investment bag. And if you have that itch to trade, you can still trade. So.
Agreed. And again, if you're skilled at trading, that makes sense. You know, mining, same thing. I mean, how many times when I'm doing the Matrix Money podcast, we got miners in there who say, you know, I'm mining X, Y, or Z, and then that's where they're going to move their stash.
Right.
Guys, I know we're running long here, and I feel like I didn't even cover everything I wanted to cover here, but I think what we'll try to do right now is kind of wrap this up. But in order to do that, I'd like to give you all the opportunity to say whatever it is you think needs to be said to kind of, you know, meet the overarching, okay, what's the best way to get Main Street ahead of Wall Street? And anything else you want to add in there. Josie, and you were just talking, we'll jump over on the other side here, and we'll let Joel go first and start us off, and we'll give all you guys a chance. Joel, take the floor, my friend.
Yeah, how do you get ahead of them is become sovereign, right? And think about the pure amount of things that we're farmed on, whether it's in privacy, our data. We're using big tech. They're stealing all our data. They're selling it to people. They're using it against us. Whether it's these mega corporations, including crypto exchanges, a lot of times that basically gate us from access to better assets out there. We have banks that make us get into this weird sort of Ponzi scheme system just to be able to buy coffee, like and payment cards. It's complete nonsense. Ditch them. There's just so many levels of things. And once you have a captured audience, once you're the only show in town, you can crank up the prices and crank down the quality of the product. And that's what has happened on the whole. And so basically, it's not just if you become a big enough fish, obviously, then now you're in that club, you can kind of avoid all that stuff. But if you're just not a big fish, which many of us maybe never will be. Let's hope we are, right? But you need to extricate yourself from the system, go sideways, get out, use sovereign tech in every way you can, start learning how to actually live on crypto, on gold and silver and cash. I know where I'm at in New Hampshire, the gold back is a big thing too. It's kind of like the analog crypto that people trade with. And so use real money, like real money that you control, that no one profits from you using and is farming you and your data. I have a de-Googled phone as well. Use Linux, open source tech for everything. Go that way. In addition to just work, do a bunch of side things too, where especially if it's not like, if you have a job for someone, you can lose that and you can be denied that. And it's not that your company's mean, it's that someone will twist the company and say, if you don't do this for all your employees, then they have to let you go or whatever. You run your own stuff, right? Just become as sovereign as you can. It doesn't mean, there's a sliding scale of like, where do you just live in the woods versus what are you, a complete corporate slave? There's like somewhere in there that like you could still obviously have a job, live in civilization, use modern tech, all this kind of stuff, but just make sure that you're in a spot where you could survive, where you you feel like you. And here's the big thing: a lot of people think about in the U.S. the First and Second Amendment, about the relationship that you need the Second Amendment to safeguard the First, and that is true. But there's a middle point in between those two, whereas people can, if people could censor your money, they don't need to censor your voice because you already shut the hell up.
Yeah,
and so you could tell that. And I've worked for all kinds of different things and corporations and entities and stuff in the past. And I could tell today the level of comfort I have in speaking my mind about everything is, you feel it inside yourself. If unless you're like a psycho and you just don't feel anything, in which case you're getting used to get fired.
That's a different issue
for running your mouth and stuff. But the point is, a lot of times what you can and can't say publicly because you could have consequences. And when you start to feel that freedom of, I could do what I want, I can, if I wanted to, take a couple days off here, I could say this, I could do that, in a more general way, where when you're sovereign, you weigh the consequences and benefits of that, but it's your choice to make it. You can still make that choice. It's not, I'm in a box and I can't make those choices. So get yourself out of the box in general. And it sounds like annoying motivational self-help nonsense, but the reality behind that is, do Google, like, get open source decentralized tech that's not spying on you, get money that you own, that you control, that's in your possession, that you don't no one can deny you access to. Learn how to use it on a day-to-day basis where you're comfortable, and work for yourself, or have your own set of skills and things like that, where no one can just shut you down. Think about, like, are you making all your money on X? If X demonetizes you, are you done? Or is it just a hit you take and you can do other things? Like, think about in that, do you get fired from your job? Is your career over? You're just done? Or do you have, I could do this, I could do that. So just sovereignty is everything. That's all I have to say.
And that's a great point and very true. Not where I was thinking about going, but that's so true. That's so true. All right, Daniel, I feel like I feel like you need to follow him after that. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with him 100%. I think that controlling your money. Look, we have only been able to get censored financially since the fiat standard. And even right before that, I mean, when we were on the Bretton Woods standard, and since the Federal Reserve, because, in 1933, FDR made it illegal for Americans to hold gold and silver, or gold, sorry. And that was their first attempt. So when the government tries to control the money, which we as people chose, right? We as a species chose originally gold and silver to be a form of medium exchange and unit account and store value for millennia. And we, the people, through Satoshi Nakamoto, have chosen Bitcoin as a digital store value and wealth generating asset. So who can't control it? The government. Yeah, they can buy up a bunch of gold and silver, but they can't just go in and confiscate everybody's gold and silver. They can't confiscate Bitcoin unless they coerce you, right? So that's what they typically do. They arrest you. They threaten to throw you in jail for 20, 30, 40 years to give up your keys. So that's how they confiscate all this crypto. So sovereignty, 100% economically. I would say I'm a libertarian economically, and a conservative on socially. So a fusionist like William F. Buckley. And, you know, if you believe in sovereign money, then you should support Citizens for Sound Money, because what we are doing, our mission is to promote the use of sound money and protect people's rights to do so. And then SMM is Sound Money Movement. It's our 501c3 foundation. We should be launching that website in the next 24, 48 hours. We're pretty much done with it. It's to teach people on the necessities of sound money and financial principles for a free society to exist. So we're educating people. So we have Lynette Zhang on our advisory board who's going to be producing content. We've invited Steve Forbes to be on our advisory board. We have Nathan Lewis, who's one of the only gold and silver think tanks. I think it's called New World Economy. He's a phenomenal economist. He's going to be doing content for us. We have a bunch of great people. Keith Weiner might be interested in joining from Monetary Metals. So we have a lot of people that are wanting to come in and teach financial literacy, because education is number one. So if you want to support educating people on financial literacy, sound money principles, and support our efforts to make gold and silver legal tender, because first and foremost, we're the only country in the world that the smaller units of government, states, provinces, counties, whatever, have because in the UK, it's the little states or counties. We're the only country in the world that can make monetary policy. And that, thank God to the founding fathers, writing Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, where it says the states can't make any money, but gold and silver coin tender for the payment of debts. So if you want to support our movement to make gold and silver digital and physical gold and silver legal tender and fix the money, because we believe fixing the money fixes the world, join Citizens for Sound Money's Pioneer Membership Program. It's $25 a year. You can go to citizensforsoundmoney.org. Click on Become a Member. You get access to Metal Markup, which is a company that we bought back in October last year, and it's an exclusive membership that shows you the cheapest bullion prices anywhere online in Canada and the United States. You also get quarterly updates from me about our legislative efforts, and you get our monthly newsletter about what's happening in the gold and silver and crypto spaces in the sound money movement. And to top it off with our cherry, we're literally in the middle of producing a TV show called The Sound Money Movement, a foundation of freedom. It's going to be on the Discovery Network, the Science Channel. Our team right now just got back from the UK and Spain. We're going to be traveling all over the world, recording the impacts of the fiat economy, and showing how, for example, Zimbabwe, even though they've devalued their currency, they did that partly because their currency was so strong. They were going through a deflationary event. There was too much pressure. They had to devalue it to create more liquidity. So, but it's still working. They're the first country in the world to back their currency with gold. So it's an interesting experiment. I think Abundant's going to be coming out of Zimbabwe, but our TV show is going to go to South Africa and record, the impacts of the Argentinian inflation and so forth. So it's going to air in Q2 of 2025. It's going to be a 12-episode series. Support us. You can go to our C3 organization, and we're fundraising to help continue the education process and also our TV show.
And all
You
the links,
possibly have a link for that?
all
You
the
put in
links,
private chat?
Yeah, yeah, I
all
can-
the links are in the description. Everything he just mentioned is in the description. So
Okay. I didn't even know that.
it's all there. Every single one of them he just mentioned is in the description already. I went back to all the interviews we did with him and pulled them all out and brought them all in. So and again, same thing for Joel, for Dash Pay, for his digital. Oh my God, help me! I'm having a brain cramp right now. YouTube channel, digital money. Anyway, all those links.
Digital Cash Network. Right.
That's it. Digital Cash Network. Damn it. I'm getting tired, folks. I'm sorry. Old man should be in bed already. All right. let's run it over. Joe, take the floor.
There is no way I'm following Daniel. I'm just saying that right now. That has to be like the best, closer, the best everything. And then it's like having the super ultra top mega comedian, and then the closer is me. It's like, knock knock. So all I gotta say is I go live every single day. Make sure to tune in. This week it's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I show you how to trade. I show you the most simplistic way, and I keep it real. I show you the wins. I show you the losses. I eat humble pie every single day. I'm not one of those that pats himself on the back and says, "Look at me," and I told you, and I don't do that stuff. But yeah, in reference to following this guy, I got it right. This guy, there's 0% chance I'm doing that. That's it. That's all I got.
Cut it off. Bedell, you want to try? You're welcome.
Hey, I'm just a small guy, but I mean, I agree with what everybody said here. I mean, you can go with the gold standard, you can go with the Bitcoin standard, you can do whatever you want, but the best advice I have for anybody and everybody out there that doesn't really know is follow us all, listen to what we have to say, and make your own choice for what you want to do.
Amen. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Decide which way you are going to be sovereign. Yes.
And if I could get maybe 5% of the people watching to subscribe to my channel, I could actually go live. So that would greatly appreciate it. It would greatly help me out.
All right, let's go show them some love.
A little bit more.
Show them some
But
love.
I mean,
Again,
other than that, I think it was a great episode. I think we hit 257 watchers at the highest point. We're at 253 right now, and
yep.
I want to thank everybody for coming on here. Make sure you click on everybody's links in the bottom below. Like, subscribe, maybe make a comment or two.
Yes. Everything he just said. Listen, again, I know I've said it a few times to you guys, but I'm going to say it again. I appreciate the fact that you guys took time out of your day to show up here tonight, to take time away from your family and so on, to be here and try and educate people.
Yeah, screw the family.
Oh my God, that was I love it.
Just being here, you just being here is going to change your life in the better. Everything that we've talked about, everything that we've kind of shone some light on, it's gonna change your life. It really is. So if you haven't already, definitely smash the like, subscribe to everybody here, and notification bell on the whole nine. And that's all I got.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. And listen, everybody in the chat, thank you very much. The chat was on fire tonight.
Yeah.
And that's great. And thank you for those who put questions in. I hope you got the answers you were looking for. I really appreciate everybody. But we're gonna wrap this stream up. And listen, watch for another one. Hopefully,
I want to say one thing before we head out. In my opinion, now it's not financial advice. The only thing you can do that's not as good as anything here is to do nothing at all.
Oh, that's true.
All I'm asking is you go watch these people, listen to them, and then follow your own advice. Because what you heard tonight, even if you caught part of it, the first half, last half, and the middle half, it's all great advice, given by great people. And they all have different aspects and different realms. So just take the knowledge in, absorb it. It's almost like reading a book. Like when you read a book, you imagine what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. But
you know
you
what?
got to put it into action, though. You got to put it into action.
Yeah, I mean, we're here. I feel everybody's here to help everybody else make money and be safe with their money. Now, the worst thing you could do, in my opinion, is to sit on your money and do nothing with it.
And do nothing.
Yeah. And 100%, because what the government's reporting isn't real inflation. Go to shadowstats.com.
Oh, yeah.
Shadowstats.com, real inflation is 10.26% compounded every year. That means in the last 5 years, we've had over 50% inflation. Last 10 years, over 100% inflation. Gold and the total debt, M2 money supply, are correlated like 90%. The more money we print or currency we print, the higher gold gets. So don't worry about missing the peaks, the bull market, or getting gold. Look, the best time to invest in gold, Bitcoin, silver was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. If you do nothing and you leave your money in the checking account, you're losing about 5% of your purchasing power if you're making 5% interest. Get that? You're making 5% interest in your CD or your bank account savings, and you're losing 5% because inflation's really at 10. So you're better off buying gold, silver, or get into Bitcoin right now. I just think it's near the top. But do something. Just don't sit in cash. Cash is theft. That every dollar, every euro, every yen is a representation of the government's theft of the people. Get rid of that and buy real assets like gold, silver, and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So in
because
closing,
look-
guys, thank you very much. The national debt is too much, too high. I didn't take my blood pressure medicine. You didn't warn
I'm
me.
sorry. I should have asked. I should have asked for. Sorry about that.
But we're wrapping it up, guys. We
Yeah.
do thank you very much, and watch us again. We'll do it again.
All right,
Yep,
we're
please,
out.
thank
Have a
you,
good
guys.
night,
All right,
everybody.
thanks, everybody.
Again, thank you again.
Have a good
Taxation
night.
is theft. Bye bye.
See ya.